Okay, so the Hypostasis, another addition to the Hypostasis family of bosses, and this one is, I'd say, one of the more difficult ones. It can be quite difficult if you go in with the wrong team composition. Like all Hypostasis fights, though, it does have a pretty linear structure. It has one phase, all the mechanics happen in that one phase in random orders. It has kind of a unique mechanic like most of the hypostases do that you have to deal with in a certain way. So let's break all of that down from start to finish. So starting off the hypostasis fight, he'll do this one mechanic where he summons two different slimes. He'll summon a dark blue slime and a light blue slime at two ends of the room. The dark blue slime will slowly bounce towards you, and then once it gets close enough to you, it will stop and begin an exploding animation, and if you're close enough to it, when it explodes, it will deal hydro damage to you. While the light blue slime will sit at the border of the room, sending healing kind of projectiles, very slow moving projectiles I should say, towards the hypostasis, and if they reach the hypostasis, it will heal any lost HP. What's cool about this mechanic is that you as the player can intercept that healing projectile and take the healing for yourself, but personally I just kill the slime very quickly just so I don't have to deal with it. After you've done this little slime introduction mechanic, which is always there at the start of the fight, the hypostasis will now go into the general rotation of all of his attacks, and there's maybe a handful of them, so let's start off with the first one, which is kind of the suck-in wave, tidal wave attack, or like the closing in walls of water attack. I don't know really what to call it, but he will kind of do a small animation in the center of the room, and he'll spawn these hydro walls around himself, which have gaps in between them for the player to be able to pass through and avoid the attack. It's a pretty obvious attack. I don't ever see myself getting hit by it, even by accident. It's quite big and quite visual, so it's pretty easy to avoid in my opinion. Another one of his prominent attacks is similar to a electro hypostasis mechanic, where he'll plonk himself down anywhere in the room and he'll start doing this kind of like very fantasy rune channeling ability. He'll become vulnerable during this time, but at the same time he'll be doing a constant assault of attacks. What the attacks are though are small hydro circles will start appearing on the ground, and after about half a second or so, a dolphin or slash hydro attack will emerge in an upwards fashion. This attack is actually quite lethal if you do try to take the vulnerability opportunity into consideration, seeing as there's runes on the ground, so you won't be able to 100% see the hydro circles appearing. So do be wary of this attack. I recommend just like slowly avoiding them and dodging them outside of the rune circle, but if you're feeling up to the task and have like a shield or something like that, then by all means go ahead and attack him. Now his next attack is actually a bit difficult to get footage of because I never really can predict when he's going to do it, or I'm never really looking at him when he did it in the times that I was recording, but from what I can tell is that he will go into the ground for about a few seconds and then emerge, and then there will be kind of like an arena-wide debuff or something like that, or an arena-wide mechanic where small or medium-sized circles will appear on the ground, and about, let's say, 0.5 seconds later, the bubbles that the Abyss Mage or Hydro Abyss Mages send out will slowly start to rise out of them. This mechanic actually can be very lethal if you do get caught in one of the bubbles and then the Hydro Hypostasis starts doing more attacks onto you. So definitely do be wary of this one. His next mechanic is similar to the Cryo Abyss Mage's Icicle Drop, where he will turn himself into kind of like a Hydro Tornado or Hydro Vortex, and then one at a time circles will appear in front of the player if they are walking, or on top of the player if they are standing still. And in these locations where the circle appears, you'll be taking constant hydro damage, I presume. Never been really hit by it, but you kind of do want to avoid these. They act very similar to the Cryo Abyss Mage's Icicle Drop, so you just want to walk in a direction, and as soon as the circle appears, you want to change to a different direction, and so on and so forth until all three are dropped. And at the end of this attack, he does have a vulnerability window, so you can attack him. This next attack, very simple. I don't know what he turns into. I do not know this shape. It kind of looks like a butterfly, or maybe like a weird spatula or a trident. I don't know what he turns into, but he'll turn into this weird shape up in the sky, and he'll slam down in front of him, doing kind of like a frontal rectangle attack. To avoid this one, just side strafe, left or right. Pretty straightforward, not too hard. And his final attack is a very simple yet predictable attack where he turns into a bunch of dolphins, chucks himself in an arch towards the player very slowly. If you do get hit by this attack, what are you doing? Stop it. It's very easy to avoid. Just kind of move to the left or to the right, whichever direction you're comfortable with. Very simple attack. Don't get hit by the dolphins. Now moving on to the final mechanic of the boss fight. So you've now gotten the Hydro Hypostasis down to 5-ish%, 5 to 0%, somewhere around there. And she flies over to the center of the room and she shoots out 3 balls that summon 3 different slimes. What you have to do for this is kill the slimes before they reach the center, or she will go back into her original phase and continue doing mechanics until you yet again get her down to about 5% HP, and then she'll redo this. Now, depending on how many slimes you kill, depends on how many slimes will spawn in the second one. So let's say in the first time you do this mechanic, you kill 1 slime, and then she goes back into phase 1, and you get her down to 0% HP again, and she does this phase again. She will now only spawn 2 slimes, so pretty much very similar or identical to the Electro Hypostasis, where you kill it, it spawns those electro crystals and you kill them one by one or all at once. And like the Electro Hypostasis, there is a most optimal element to take for this specific mechanic. Now, I did try the 3 kind of, most used elements, which is Electro, Pyro, and Cryo. And out of the 3, Electro was the slowest by a lot, and Cryo was the fastest by a lot. With all mechanics being explained now, I'm going to play my kill clip, which is using 3 Cryo characters with my Hu Tao as the main DPS, just because I don't have any Cryo main DPSs. The Cryo characters are there mainly to get rid of those slimes, so hope you guys enjoy this little kill clip, and I'll see you at the end. And that is my Hydro Hypostasis fight guide. Thank you all so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, hit that like button, and if it was helpful and you like this type of content, hit that subscribe button. Have an amazing day, and I'll see you all in the next one. Peace out.